calling you a radical, so this year is going to be an important year for Kevin Blanche, the true marine biologist. So we're going to get super incredible, the lowest tides I think I've ever seen in my life in January. It'll be epic. With low comes the great highs. You think those waves were fucking big all month of December. Wait till freaking the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th of January. So let's talk whales. The baby orca, she's carrying it around again. What do you think is going to happen? They got no food. Let's talk some whales. First and foremost, the greatest fraud ever perpetrated on the American populace, especially the young people at university. How did the universities turn into nothing more than a Ponzi scheme of imperialists? And that's at public and private. Now, remember, I was the guy at the #1 school in the country. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates together shredded. And they're under investigation for selling state secrets to China now. And it was a public entity that was, I mean, so unbelievable that this happened. So, first and foremost, if you went to university post 2011 and you studied science, especially if you studied marine biology, and you're one of the coastal universities, well, any of the universities in the country, you studied science. You know, whether it be San Diego State, Caltech, UCLA, USC, Oregon, Oregon State, Stanford, Cal Berkeley, Washington State, Weber State, you need to sue them. You need to file a lawsuit against them. You've been so radically defrauded. I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a football player, what's a goalpost? I'm a marine biologist, what's Fukushima? This is the greatest ecological collapse to a marine biology in history. Go through any ecology. I mean, it's so radical, it's so extreme, and the whales, and all you bootlicking, can't think Ponzi scheme professors, you got your merit badge. This country has turned into nothing but it is a Ponzi scheme. It's turned into run by a small cult of imperialists. And they've got total control, and the bootlickers, no one stands up. There's no critical thinking. I mean, you think about the copy-paste PhDs now, and which is being outed everywhere. Everywhere. This is how you get your PhD, which is not a PhD. That is such radical fraud, it is unbelievable. Getting a traditional real PhD is a lot of work. This is such fraud. You know what kind of money they stole from you? Oh my God, it's unbelievable. So last year, at this time of year, I'm in Pacific Beach. In fact, it was the day that the war criminal died, Kissinger. And God, you should have seen Pacific Beach, California erupt. I mean, we went up to the top. Some young people, you should have seen that party, people celebrating. Whoa. So these young people come up to me, and I says, hey, you're Kevin Blanche. You're the marine biologist. And they came from affluent families. The one his parents had moved from Europe to Monterey, and they were mucks. I'm pretty sure, with CIA and NSA, one of them. The kid grew up privileged, grew up in Monterey. He grew up on the bay, and he says, I'm studying marine biology at San Diego State. And I says, I won't mention the word Fukushima. No. He says, I have a group. I told him you were here because I've been watching your videos, and you've been tracking this well out in the ocean that you say is a young juvenile that's going to wash up dead any day now. And we've been talking about you. We watch your videos in our dorm room, blah, blah, blah. Can we buy you a beer and have you pick your brain? Yeah. So up to the top of the water bar, and the whole herd of them, and talk about an education. And they all come up, told me, thank you. We never got any of this. And some of them were graduate students. I mean, one of them was working on a PhD. And I says, yeah, it's beyond fucking fraud. We know. We get it. We're all over this. And we've actually, one of them steps up and he says, I'm a senior. And he says, I've jumped every one of my professors about Fukushima and you. They all know about you. And he says, I've jumped them all about it. And they're scared straight. Yeah, they're golden handcuffs. It's fucking pitiful. I mean, academia has turned into a Ponzi scheme and totally fucking hijacked by the cult. And so, I mean, what evidence? What hardcore radical evidence? First you hypothesize, but let's talk wells today. You know, and so the baby has died. You know, they have them numbered in the Puget Sound, the well petters, you know, and yeah, we have such hope another baby's been born. So, in honor of the dead wells, the crabs have all disappeared. I mean, they were the last of, which I predicted all of that because they're bottom feeders. One of the highest immune systems on the fucking planet. This one ain't going to be so easy to peel off. This one's going to take some work, you know. Maybe we'll save this one for another video because this one don't want to peel. I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Anyway, we'll work on it. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. There we go. We'll continue this. So, thank you to Uber in on the bay, the Chesapeake. So, we continue this fight. So, let's talk wells. Let's talk the radical starvation event, the radical change in their behavior for the first time in human history, and nobody seems to be alarmed. Let's talk about this. So, first and foremost, we'll start at the beginning. Kids, most wells are plankton feeders. They're filter feeders, including grays and humpbacks. Now, traditionally, right now, today, on the point in Monterey Bay, which I call John Denver Point, that's where he went now, right there. That historic place, you can stand there, and it's like clockwork. January 1st, you'll see the first gray. It used to be a major event, so cool, which I've done many times. The best, which is one of the best places to watch the migration. Oil Point is, of course, the historic one in Santa Barbara. You know, there's lots of them. They're plankton feeders. Gray whales, they're 10,000-mile migration. They come all the way out of the Bering Sea, clear to Mexico. They get in the California current. The California current gets in close now. It's cold. It's swift. It's right. By the way, the Japanese current flows right into the California current, right off the coast of Fukushima, Japan. And so the humpbacks, also Bering Sea, they migrate to Hawaii for Christmas. Yay. So also plankton feeders. So then we go to sperm whales. Sperm whales, they spend their time summering off the Baja coast and they feed on squid, giant squid. They've completely moved out of there because there's no giant squid as the eco chain is broken. Okay, then of course, orcas, killer whales, meat eaters. Their mainstay is Chinook salmon. As we know, the Chinook salmon have fucking collapsed. And so they're completely gone fucking mad out of their fucking domain. We have the tropical pod. We have the called southern pod, which is in Puget Sound. But they spend their winters also here in the Bering Sea. Now, I run into a biologist recently, this year, who was like, recognized me and was talking to me. You worked at the university in Anchorage. And he's like, no, you know, I'm a well counter. I'm out there. This is what I do. He's a younger guy with a PhD. And he's like, no, there's something radically has happened. Something radically has fucking changed. Oh, you're finally admitting it. No, they're gone. Look, these whales have so radically changed their behavior in first time in. Ooh, what's that smell, honey? It's a dead, washed up well in Carmel. I don't like it. I don't like it. When I'm walking the coast, starving to death myself, fucking dying of cancer, you know, I witnessed it. You know, I had a little flip camera in those days. Like, I had to plug it into a hard drive. Half the time it was fucking dead. You know, so I couldn't get no video content. I mean, I was almost dead. You know, and so I walked up on her, starved to death, while she was having her last breath. That Mavericks right there. Fuck. It was early in the morning, right as it's cracked on. I'm so cold. You know, I got my big, heavy, thick coat on, you know, and I'm like trying to walk. I knew right there where that Skagway was, not far from there. I'm like trying to get there. And there it was. I'm like, holy fuck. So giant. Walked up, put my hands right there. His eye came open. Fucking eyes bigger than fucking this room. 60,000 pound fucking, and this woman, oh, it's Kevin, because I wrote Fukushima killed me, you know, on the beach with my roller. She goes psycho on me, you know, as the mornings come up, and, you know, we're right there by the populated area there. That's why we're washed up. And I'm like, I never said radiation killed it. I said it starved to death. It broke the chain. Now, back to PB, a couple days after I'm having this dissertation, giving these kids this lecture, sure shit, that well I've been watching washes up dead. It was a juvenile fin. Now, the fins are so rare, I know of at least 4 that's washed up dead on the California coast. Now, NOAA will tell you it's an unusual mortality event. And they declared it over. This is the same NOAA that denied that it was even happening. These are the same biologists. Now, there's 75 biologists come out and did a big study with no field work, with no hypothesis. This is how academia is frauded. They just jump to a conclusion, right, and regurgitate the facts, Kevin Blanch's work, as I did it in real time. And they said, yes, this is a starvation event that started in 2012 with the humpbacks and the grays. So in science, this just doesn't happen. So back to the well. So living in the Bering Sea in the winter or summertime, they're not there. They disappeared. Where are they at? So in 2015, I'm walking the coast of California, dying of cancer, documented. I get to the Monterey Aquarium, you know, which is $50 come in there. Now, Steve, that used to be the guy there, and they used to all laugh at me on the tide pools because here they are in their ivory tower in their glass house. They can't even look down at their feet at the great tide pools right there. And I'm like, have you noticed the fucking starfish are gone? They just completely, so are the upper California purple urchins, and so are the sea anemones are supposed to be this big, big, flowering, beautiful. Not some little, yeah. Oh, no, you know, they might be down to let it, you know, to the point where he resigned and moved to South America. He knows. So there's a volunteer waiting there for me. She says, Kevin, we've been watching your videos. She says, I'm the ex-dean at, I believe, UCLA, the marine biology department. My husband's the ex-dean at Stanford. We just have a complete passion and love for the whales and the ocean like so many did in those days. And she says, Kevin, they're birthing in Monterey Bay. We take our rowboat out and we talk. No. You know, fit right into my hypothesis. They can't make it. They're enumerated. They're sick. They're starving to death. And so she says, my daughter and my son are both department chairs at major universities. I said, marine biology? Yes. We talk about this starvation going on the wells, the Fukushima event. They don't care. I says, making a lot of money. Oh, yeah. We're on not speaking terms to them. We won't even speak to them. over this because they don't give a fuck. There's the problem with academia. They're in their ivory tower in their glass house. Look at me. I mean, remember her with her glasses, their shaved head all over TV, back in Harvard, out of her PhD. Stanford, by the way, Dr. Abrams, who spoke, and he said that he's old, retired, old school marine biologist, and he had his own thing at Stanford. He says our caged tuna have cesium-137 in them. This is in the fucking 2011, late 2011, 2012. Then he shortly thereafter passed away at 95 years old. Old school marine biologist that gave a fuck. Where's cesium-137? Picking up cesium-137 in the tuna. What? And I'm the guy that leaked out the KOK, Ken Buser's study, that Hawaiian boat that went over there, multiple professors from all over the fucking world, a lot of them, one from even University of Arizona. And they won't talk, they won't speak. And I'm the one that leaked it out. They were secretly over there testing 40 kilometers off the coast of Fukushima. This is in June of 2011. By the way, Fukushima blew up again on June 14th, 2011. I'm the guy that found the fucking thing, and you can physically see it. And so, 2011. And so they're over there, and they had, this is a secret study they were doing trying to hide it. Woodholes, fucking Buesler, the KOK, the Hawaiian ship, which they've retired now. Kind of like the USS Reagan, move it. After they had a sleepover camp. And I protested at that when they had a sleepover camp on the USS Reagan, which was at Fukushima. And I'm like, they had a sleepover camp on Little League football players. And they had the San Diego Chargers, including Philip Rivers. And I'm don't go on that ship. Don't go on that ship. Radioactive. We had a trial, remember? So, this acute radical collapse happening so in earnest, I'm going crazy about this. So I'm standing there where I'll be on the 9th, 10th, right there on the point at Pacific Beach. Is such a great vista right there. I've been there my whole life. And I know where the great tide pools are. I know where to watch the wells, whatever. And this is in January 2014, I believe. And I got Winston's girlfriend with me. And Lisa. And she's like, it's early in the morning. I'm out there. And she comes, what are you doing? And I says, it's time for the next shoe to drop in this eco chain collapse. She says, what do you mean? I says, wells are going to start washing up dead this year in earnest. It's time. You can sense it. You can feel it. I'm so connected to the fucking sea. So we independently, our group, the Post-Ignorance Project, we started counting. Of course, this is before COVID, and COVID changed everything. And then before the election of Trump, and the whole thing just got off. People got so politically dogma thing that everybody, and then they infiltrated, stole my radio show, teed me up. So we counted 312 washed up dead that year, our group. Now, of course, Noah's in denial. Noah's not even. Noah finally comes out and says, yeah, they counted 300 and some odd. They tagged it the unusual mortality, man. And remember, they're cutting up the wells, they're tearing them up, freaking whatever. I remember the one in Monterey, in Half Moon Bay. I'm like, you cannot, and I scream and yell, you cannot throw these in the dump. It's against California law, which it is against California law. Of course, the well petters violate California. Yeah, there's 1,000-foot fucking rule that the boats can't, they got to stay back 1,000 feet. They don't care. It's to protect the tourist economy. And so the well petters, oh fuck, isn't it wonderful? Isn't this great? Orcas in San Francisco Bay fucking killing and eating fucking full-blown out humpbacks and fucking grays in the summer. What? They shouldn't even be there. Yeah, this is Channel 8 San Diego. Oh, isn't it wonderful? Dolphins swimming with the orcas. When orcas are eating the fucking dolphins, which they should never be there this time of year. Blah, blah. Well, I mean, summertime. They're in the Bering Sea. They're so out of their fucking domain. It is so radical. So we count things. And this is before the historic collapse happened on the Chinook salmon. Now, everybody gave me so much shit because I says, look, the smoking gun will happen in 2016. Why 2016? Because Chinook salmon go to sea for 5 years. They will not collapse until 2016. Now, and I'd already seen this stillhead. Yes, they live in the sea. They live in the sea 1 year, come back. They're called a half pounder. They go back again, then they come back the second fucking year. Their life cycle's over. I'd already watched this class because the salmon get counted on all rivers. Now, I used to call, there was an independent group in Portland, because in Oregon, Washington's the worst. To this day, you can look it up. Washington Fishing Game with its acute radical collapse was having orgies. The head of Washington Fishing Game's in prison for rape and a co-worker. Look it up. It's 2015. But Oregon, in Portland, they had a group that tracked the fish. Then, of course, the Army Corps Engineers. I'm the guy that talked them into standing up to the Army Corps Engineers. I said, the Army Corps Engineers are lying. By the way, the Army Corps Engineers used to be the Department of Atomic. It's still connected in the cult. Jeff Bezos' fucking grandfather, guy, said the original. Look it up. So, I says, the Chinook won't collapse till 2016. And you'd already seen the well starting to collapse that very year. I mean, really, the smoking gun of the historic collapse happened right then, which is a smoking gun of the starvation event. It already started, but it went in earnest in 2016, 17. Why? Because in 2015, actually, because they go to sea for 5 years. Now, as I say, we count them all. The point that the Kenai this year, it's so radical, it's so acute that these rivers have pulled out. No tribal takeout, no commercial fishing, no retail fishing. They've just closed it, including the Kenai, for the last 2, 3, 4 years. Without no fishing, without anything. And this is by number of fish, not by size. Less than 10,000 for the week. Oh my God, what a catastrophe. You know, these are the 100-pound beasts that are on the Kenai. For the month, oh my God, no, for the year. That's just a 96% collapse since 2015. I don't do opinion. I don't do quantum physics. I don't do all this fairy tale fucking DeGracio fucking. These people are not scientists even. No, you have to do the field work. I'm an actual real scientist. I do the work. I do stuff you can prove. And I'll predict it, every fucking bit of this. Now remember, the tide pools wiped out in 2011, 2012 immediately, and they're going to say, oh, wasting disease now. And they're coming out, wasting disease, wait a minute. What caused wasting disease? Then they'll jump to the conclusion, global warming. And I'm like, the ocean got hot. Obviously, the ocean got hot, radically fucking hot, which I call hot Watergate, which I named a hot Watergate in 2011. Because nuclear meltdowns are hot. Never happened before in the history of mankind. Never. Chernobyl, 780,000 entombed. One nasty freaking radical event. These are several, well, at least 3, most likely 4 full core meltdowns they can't get near that have burrowed into the ocean. And 8 spent fuel pools. Chernobyl had no spent fuel. It was a new reactor. 8, including the biggest load on the planet, including fucking MOX fuel, blown up, pushed into the fucking ocean. It's been there fucking. So the foreign, which I named Plutonium because it's never happened before. Now, you know, at Livermore, California, bringing star power to Earth is their logo. That's always their goal. That's what a nuclear exchange is. It's a sun. It's a man-made sun. They'll tell you that. They'll tell you, you know, and it's a contained madness inside, so radical that when the fucking water from the ocean, from the rivers, from the lakes runs over the top of it and boils it immediately, it's so radical, it's so hot, but it's contained madness. Never happened before that it ever gets out. I did the due diligence. We were saying the Wattis G, who built the reactors from Fukushima. I had wrote paper on Mach 1, Mach 2s. I knew they couldn't handle an 8 on the Richter, let alone a 9. You know, because I was always so worried about Sinanofri, and Diablo Ken, and Fukushima, Diachi, and Diani, and nuclear reactors on the Ring of Fire. Who the fuck does that? So I knew that this thing, it wasn't the tsunami, you know, that made it worse, of course. It was the fucking shake just blew them to fucking hell, and this fucking madness got out. And China syndrome's been proven by Fukushima. And TEPCO will come out. Fucking Lake Barrett's got that line. Rahm Emanuel's got that pole. Let's head on day 5,000 and change to that Fukushima fishing hole. You know, they get a little bit, 0.7 grams recently. 0.7 grams, 880 tons of, that's spent fuel. And I can prove that's spent fuel because they found zirconium. It's on that little piece. The core doesn't have zirconium in it. The core is surrounded by the zirconium. It's buried in the ocean. They'll tell you that. They'll tell you that. See that hole? This has never happened before. This has never happened. Lake Barrett to Leslie Stahl in 60 Minutes on day 2816. So if it's never happened before, the byproduct, what comes off it, has never happened before, which I said it's a plasma. It's a gas. It's gonna get. I'm the first guy that started. I'm the guy that named it the blob. You could physically see it. You know, that's the invasive species moving in, wiping out the healthy. You take out the plankton, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to cause an eco chain. You broke the chain, was my hypothesis. And it's going to first will go the starfish, Kevin Blanch. I said they'll go first. The tide pools. Which, you think about my historic tide pool fucking work. They tried to cover all that up. There still are. I mean, just a cute wipeout. And not just on the ochres, the bat stars, the fucking all. I mean, it's a wipeout. I mean, a cute radical wipeout. The sea anemones went. The fucking Upper California purple urchins, which used to be carpet, just went. All kinds of visual proof. Absolutely, Kevin Blanch's work has absolutely proved it. The salmon, the smoking gun. So we have record returns on the salmon. Record on 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, to the point that the Army Engineers is doing fucking videos. Look at the live cam, blah, blah, blah. What a fucking big old beast. To the point they had with the tribal takeout, with the commercial takeout, with everything, they had well over 4 million, close to 4.5 million. I mean, and all these said rivers. The next year, immediately off a fucking cliff, just like Kevin Blanch said. I mean, a radical outlet off a cliff. We count all salmon. We count it from the Kenai, fuck the Fraser, the fucking, the Nushkak, the Columbia. You know, we get to the Rogue, the Jedediah Smith, the Klamath. Now, they've recently tore out the dams of the Klamath, but the Klamath had dams. But the Rogue did not. Never has. Neither has the Jedediah Smith. They're right by each other. Now, here's the Klamath has dams. Jedediah Smith has no dams. Rogue has no dams. They're both down post-2016 on Chinook salmon and a radical acute, just down 96% in symphony with each other. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers classified Kevin Blanch. Now, I used to call them all the time. They'd hang up on me. So I called Portland over there, and you can talk to them up there. I'm the guy that got them going on. They used to laugh. They don't laugh no more. They're like, you called this to a T, blah, blah. They overrode the Army Corps of Engineers and started posting numbers. Now, there's a dichotomy and a fight going there with Oregon Fishing Game is the only one that actually does any work. Alaska Fishing Game doesn't do any work. That could prove by the starvation of the Muirs. Remember when they all starved up and washed up? Oh, just the greatest bird wipeout in history. All predicted. I'm walking the coast of California. Fucking, yeah, remember those videos in Pismo? And I'm like, look, they're playing fucking volleyball. And by the way, that's hat is not over. Last winter or was that this summer in Pacific Beach, California? I'm walking from PB just right there to Mission, and I counted 8 washed up dead Muirs just in a quarter mile. 8! One morning. 8! It's ongoing. The seal starvation of it. Remember when I'm walking the coast and all the sea lions were showing up and these private missions were testing them and they were all testing for leukemia? Hogle Zoo right here. Our famous sea lion fucking got leukemia the same time I did. Died. Look it up. So this acute radical catastrophe, it's an eco chain. These wells are so radically I can't now believe this is the biggest story in the fucking world. Here's the sperm whales who left the Baja. Fuck, they're all over. How about the orcas are in San Francisco Bay, in Diablo Bay, in Monterey Bay, in the fucking summertime, in close, fucking hunting full-blown out 60,000 pound fucking humpback whales and gray whales. Why is a humpback and a gray in San Francisco Bay, in Monterey Bay, in Diablo Canyon Bay, in San Diego, in the summer? They never, in their history, never. They're starving to death. They're on the hunt for food. So orcas are chasing them. Orcas, they'll eat dolphins, when they're hungry, but their mainstay is Chinook salmon. The salmon collapse in symphony with the whale collapse. It's a starvation event. All predicted by Kevin. They're cutting them up. And I'm like, you cut those whales up in that 1.5 moon. I says, you can't do that illegal. Everybody was complaining at half moon. Oh, honey, it's a dead whale. Ooh, I don't like that smell in Carmel. Ooh, honey. They're calling, complaining about the smell in the dead well. So sure shit, they cut it up and put it in the fucking dump. I'm like, what karma you played on yourself? By the way, on the Rogue, this is sad news. You know, as you know, I used to argue with. Remember him? Never caught a paper fish. The old timer who used to work with me and Martin, who burned to death in the Oregon fires. By the way, he sent me a video right before he was surrounded, whatever. It's very tragic. I loved that guy. He was the best. Never caught a paper fish because he was arguing with these reporters in Oregon that were putting out. Remember, he was putting out the one count of 400,000 going to be on the Rogue. I says, you out of your fucking mind. They'll be lucky to have 10,000. And he projected, and he was putting all over his publications because it's all about the Mitchell Lake tourism come fishing. I see he died at 60 years old. I'm like, I don't know what happened, but wow. I mean, it's, and I was right. My numbers have been dead on every single year on all these. I mean, I've been so accurate on these fucking numbers on all the Said River. We count them all. This is an acute radical collapse with all the fucking ocean species are in symphony with each other. When you take, I mean, it's heartbreaking. I remember when people used to absolutely love the fucking wells this time of year. I used to do it. Fuck, I'd go there this time of year. I'd fucking, be at Oil Point, Santa Barbara, fucking up and down the coast. Fuck, used to be so fun. These beautiful, incredible fucking, biologists, citizens who just loved the fucking whales in the ocean because they understood what sacred animals they are, which they are. I mean, the gray whales are just they're almost mystical. First came the god of Chinook salmon. So this radical change in the fucking whale's behavior is the biggest story in marine biology history. Ever. The salmon collapse. I mean, the salmon are just down 96% on all the said rivers, the Chinook post 26. Dams are not dams. It's an absolute fucking ecological, and it's an acute fashion. So all these studies are coming out and verifying Kevin Blanch's work that I did in real fucking time. Of course they kettle me, fucking go after me. The truth is a real motherfucker. And the Great Pacific Genocide. I mean, it's fucking unbelievable. It blows my mind, actually. The heat dome over the western United States, which I says, this is going to move into the ocean. The storms rise up. It's going to cause a heat. This is going to be so radical, so foreign. You're not going to be able to really even test for it, but we have tested for it. There's all kinds of data coming out. Remember when they caught the rockfish 180 times over the raised legal limits? And just the fact that Obama administration, Gina McCarthy, took down RadNet, the radiation, on March 11th, 2011. They just took it offline. You think that's coincidence? I mean, the cover up. I remember walking the coast of California and talking to, biologists. I remember the one I was in the Central Coast. I was in at Ragged Cliffs up there somewhere. I think I was by Blacks there, up by the Bixby Bridge in Gorda. I ran out of water, and this fish company says, "Never seen the ocean so healthy," he told me, Kevin. I said, "You guys." Well, I do pick up a lot of Fukushima debris. I says, I'm watching. They come in and black out and cleaning up the Fukushima debris at 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't scare on the beach. They groom all the beaches in Southern California at 4:30 in the morning. You got to be very careful. I used to sleep on the beach, sleep back, doing all my work. Johnny on the spot. These tide pools go down quickly. It happens fast. And it's against the law to wade through a tide pool. It's against the law to use a hide light. It's against the law to pick things up out of the tide pools, including the California fucking sea slams. Now, why did I find all those at Stank Bank at PB Point? Because it back eddies into there, right there at PB Point, which is the best tide pool in all Southern California. And remember, I found nearly 100 California sea slugs a few years ago. One of them this fucking big. I sure didn't pick them up, pull them out. Why? Because they can feed on sewer. And we know the Tijuana River back eddies. And it's not just the Tijuana River. We have fucking sewer dumps fucking every fucking day in fucking site because they've never updated the sewer system. Fucking, and the population is gone up fucking exponentially. And so, and by the way, you could see the fucking blob inside it's fucking stinks, it's fucking gross, it's fucking disgusting. I'm gonna start wearing a fucking bigger mask. And remember, I did all this work while in critical condition. I was given 2 months to live. The fact that I go into the bone marrow transplant center, East 8 on 11/11, given 2 months to live. Celeste. Kevin, I've worked here at LDS at the bone marrow transplant unit for 26 years. Come here. I want to talk to you. This is in the clinic. A couple years later, come out. She says, you should be very proud. There's a lot of people around here that really don't like the way you fucking fight. Your videos and whatever. She says, I'm born and raised in Manhattan. She says, you mind me of somebody old school freaking New Yorker. You don't take no shit. You tell it how it is. That's why my family, that's why I grew up. I love the way you fight. She's got to tell you something. I've been here 26 years. I prepared your paperwork when you came in here. The doctors ranked you at a red 10. She says, the most radical. Your vitals were so, you were so radically sick. Yeah, it took them a month to fucking diagnose me. Vincent Hans finally saved me, Bimbo. I fully expected you to go out in a body bag that week. 26 years I've been here. I never seen anybody with ranked as a red 10 go out of here alive. Never. She says, you should be incredibly proud of you. And you did it without a transplant. Yeah. She says, and I know what you're going to tell me. I fight for her. She fights for me, because that was my line. Because I'm in the 1% study. Everybody asks me all the time, Kevin, how did you survive? How are you alive? I walked the coast of California while I'm dying. I'm fighting for the ocean. I get it that we're connected. I get it that our DNA, for I am a whale, for I am a sea anemone, for I am an Upper California fucking purple urchin, for I am a Chinook salmon, for I am a seal. My favorite. The seals are completely wiped out. I understand their DNA is almost identical to ours. And I get it. We are connected, the birthplace of all life. The sea. I mean, come on, man. And the whole marine biology fucking world, the scientific community has turned their back on her. Think about that. They sit back and watch the nuclear energy fucking crime syndicate ganger and don't do nothing. Well, they actually cheer. They become the pom-pom team, the cheerleaders for the nuclear energy crime syndicate. The cover-up of Fukushima has nothing to do with fucking squalling, panic, go shopping. It has to do with protecting the fucking cult, the nuclear energy crime cult. The fact that we got San Onofre shut down without Kevin Blanch's cancer, that never happened. I'm the guy that leaked all that out. And then Gary gets $5 million in the whistleblower, and I get shit. Well, I got kicked out of Medicaid by Mike Lee after I forked over $1 million worth of Tesla stock. Going in and out of a coma like her. I'm connected to the Pacific Ocean. Remember my eyes? My pigment went on my eyes. They were fucking, I have really blue eyes. And my eyes went like, it looked like the Great Salt Lake in springtime. They were this dull gray. Blisters on my tongue. I got down to 119 pounds. I weigh 165. I mean, sucked up to nothing. They had to quit chemo on me. It wasn't working. My platelets were in the 30s for years. I remember doctors, you're really going to go off the coast of California? Yeah. You'll die out there. Yeah, what a place. I'll drip into the sea. Fucking Robin Jeffers, the tide are in our veins. That's what's written in the Monterey Aquarium when you walk in. The tides are in our veins. We are the sea. I get it, Kevin D. I fight for her. She fights for we, Kevin D. from the sea. I fought so hard for her. I remember being at Pismo and standing there on the fucking boardwalk, and Joe came all the way from LA.